Another one. As I look at this one, I'm looking to see how they can regulate the water level. Maybe from this little dam to the right, maybe it sluices ahead and above us here, if you will, into the water wheel, causing it to have a constant elevation. Or it may be the similar check dam just downstream about 50 yards. Now here's something a little bit unique. A mother and father or mother and daughter combination. And if you listen closely when I shut up, you may be able to hear one of them moaning. And from this visitor center vantage point, two more. This one feeding water to this rice paddies, and that one down there, considerably larger as you can see, feeding to the terraces above it. And I'll pan in a moment so you can see how much that it's watering. A fairly decent area getting watered by that large one. Now as I get down closer, not only can you hear this one working, but you can see it working. Notice it looks like there are 3 bamboo pipes that it's feeding. Looking across those fields at that large water wheel, just want to get an idea of its elevation above the fields. There we are. Good example of it doing a great job. Looks like 4 pipes there. And here's some cut rice that's been put here for the benefit of the tourists to look at, I'm sure. It's the stalks of what remains that we see, but here, get a closer look at this. This is fed this part of the world for, I think, somewhere around 4,000 years, maybe 10. Okay, now we're approaching the entrance to the bridge. A picturesque bridge, even in this weather. And there it's village, and there are at least 2 water wheels. You can see one there. Actually there's 3, one, the remnant of another. There's a 3rd one actually, and there's one behind the first buttress here that we can't see. Notice the posts are made of stone. Whether that's original, that one's not, but whether these others are, don't know. No doubt this is a tourist one. So I'd have to look and see how many hundreds of years this has been in operation as a bridge. Because it's wood, of course, local artisans probably built it, craftsmen built it, and can repair it easily. And it's for that reason, plus tourism and its practical use, at least historically, it stays in good condition. I think this design of workmanship is called Tenyon and mortise, in which the piece of wood is installed into a groove in the piece of wood that it's installed in. But here, like in the temples, you can see also a support Although my guess is that that support there comes from the piece that runs through both of those posts. How long these floor timbers have been here, I don't know, may not even be relevant because they will be replaced whenever they go bad. These are side rooms built into what probably look like pavilions from the outside. And why, I don't know. Perhaps people lived here. Perhaps there have always been shops here. It would make sense. It would be a good community center. Here we're at the end of the bridge in a tower type of complex with some little bit of detail, artistic detail at the top here. And while I'm up here, look how the roof is constructed. Between the slats will be that concave tile, and then over the slats and with the edges resting in the adjacent concave will be the convex tile, which makes it essentially waterproof. Relatively unimpressive compared to the temples and halls that we've seen religious in the way of structure, but for what would have been relatively common folk, pretty impressive. Again, notice this long, what looks almost like a large 2x4 goes completely through. Probably, if not now, at least in the past, was held with some kind of pegging so that it wouldn't move back and forth in that slot. Okay, so now I'm about to eat something I've seen before, but I've never had. And it comes in these little packages of what I think is probably a palm leaf or something like that. And then I'm guessing I open it up. So the grass is just lightly tied in a little knot. So you can see I just undo it like that. And then I open it up. Doing it with one hand, which we're all finding rather fun as the North American figures out. It looks like a sticky rice. So anyway, I'll put the pigeons beg elsewhere, but here it's chickens. So I open up and it's a real sticky, has a real sticky texture, but it's very good. And a nice texture. And there's something inside of it, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some of that, which is chestnuts. Maybe it's got some chestnut in it. Now here's how you eat the local yams, but it looks more like a beet. She's splitting that open a bit. You'll see, and then she just eats it. Okay, I'll have to try that. It's being in a picturesque place like this, which is real. I mean, granted, it's touristy, but up the road a piece, the touristy is a lot less. And this isn't that much touristy other than directly on the bridge. And these people are pretty discreet. You say no, and that's about the end of it. But it makes you wonder here why some people live the lives they live when they might live here a better life. Notice there are a couple more abandoned water wheels here. Whether they're called into service at a later time when there is a need for water up there, I don't know. These tea plants are laid out in rows without the discrete individual plants that I saw in Vietnam. Correction, in Thailand at Mae Salong, and that just may be the nature of growing it here or something specific to these folks. This is one of those piles of the rice stalks that we normally see that have been burned for some reason. Why, I don't know, but then I don't know what they do with the others I've seen either. Okay, here we're up close and personal. You can hear it moaning under its load. I'm guessing that somehow enough water drips on that axle to keep it from wearing out too fast, unless there's some other mechanism I can't see. Here's some of the detail of how these are made. Now these very simply, just pieces of bamboo form the spokes, if you will, radiating off of the axle, and then some kind of plant. Maybe it's also bamboo, looks like it is, but small pieces of bamboo, at that stage probably fairly springy and yet very, very strong, tied together, woven to some degree, and then tied at the ends, and that's it. And then somehow attached. This one's just about falling off, so I'm not sure how it's even attached now. Ah, I see how it is. That is a thin board, and they split those bamboo at that point and insert the board. Here, of course, we're using a little bit of plastic pipe to fill in for the bamboo. Okay, now we're right underneath the structure here. It doesn't look terribly novel. It looks like it's pretty straightforward. A lot of cantilevering of big logs, successively larger and larger until you've got enough structural support to hold the really big logs, which then hold the entire bridge. Looks pretty straightforward. These are interesting, either very beautiful wings of a butterfly or of a very small bird, I don't know which. May even be of a flower, I can't tell. Some interesting plant. With what look like stalks that are flower stalks that are pretty at one end. Maybe they successively blossom as they move down the stalk and the upper part dies off, I don't know.